Welcome to Attican Plays 2-Point Hospital. All right, hi, this is Attican and welcome to a 2-Point Hospital Fundamentals video. We're going to talk about training in depth and talk about why train and how train and who train and all that stuff. So the first thing is just a quick word. Training is vital if you want to succeed, particularly on your larger hospitals, and you want to have a good hospital with a high reputation and a lot of money and leveling up and running efficiently without gigantic queues all over the place. You want to have the highest trained staff you can have. You want to start having, training that looks like this, where you've got people leveled up tremendously, and you want them to be specialized in something that they do, whatever it is, that whatever needs to be done. You want specialists in those fields and trained up. You can see even here there's plenty of training left to do in this hospital, even though I've been playing it for 5 or 6 years now, and because this hospital for me is the most important hospital because it's my research center for everything. But at any rate, let's get back on topic. So training. First thing I want to talk about is training slots. So let's just go look at our staff. Let's go look at our doctors. And so, here we go. Now see this right here, says ready for training, Jane Farce. Well, Jane Farce, you notice everybody has the potential to be trained 5 times, so they have 5 training slots. But the ready for training only opens up occasionally. So it opens up with promotions, you get another slot, and then there has to be a certain time period pass and experience before they're ready to take the training. So like all these people here, this guy here, this Jackie Trousers is ready for more training. And this person here, Neum Fox, is not. So we have to wait until we have the training. So that's the first thing. They have to have the training slots. And when you hire people, you want to be cognizant of that and make sure you've got these training slots open. Now, in this particular hospital, this is a teaching hospital. It's a special case. All we can hire are newbies, who have no training, and they all come in with a training slot open. So this is actually an easy one as far as training goes. And that's why it's one reason it's a teaching hospital. But let's talk about, there's the training slots. So first of all, you have to have those training slots. Now, let's talk about just kind of in general, the rooms and where you want them and all that kind of stuff. Now, you have options. First of all, how many training rooms do you need and how big should they be? Well, one approach would be, of course, I could build a training room, particularly if I had tons of money like I do here now. I could build a training room that was like, humongous, and I could put posters and encyclopedia bookcase 2. See this plus 4% training speed on this bookcase 2. I could put these posters. Where are they? Here we go. Anatomy poster, +1 training. So on every wall I could put an anatomy poster. Now let's just do one. I could put an anatomy poster, and then I could put that all the way around the room, and then I could put encyclopedias all around that. I could scatter stuff through here. I could make some ugly maze or make it look like a big library with a little training on the side and have this giant room, and I could actually end up with the training speed like cut in half or more. So your training would be extremely fast, and that's just so tempting to do that. I would not recommend that though. And the reason I would not recommend that is the way those training slots work. You're not going to have 50 people lined up to train what you want them to do, so you don't need the giant room. And also, the super speed only works if you've got that room really close to everything else. So if I had that giant training room maybe right here, that might not be too bad, because here's what happens. If I had a giant training room up here, and people down here needed that training, by the time they walk all the way up here, and remember, this game is all about managing walking. By the time they walk all the way up here, get their training really fast, and walk all the way back, they would have been faster better off going this short distance, taking a little more time in the training and coming back where they needed to be. So I don't recommend the large training rooms. I do strongly recommend that you have multiple training rooms and you scatter them throughout. So in this hospital, there's one over here, there's one here in our starting place. That was the first training room, and there's one over here. And you'll notice they're not that big. And I'm not going to get into the actual design of the rooms, except to say that you want to kind of think of that technique I just showed you with the posters and the encyclopedias and those anatomy statues, models, anatomy models, that kind of thing to increase your training speed in the room, make it more effective. But the main thing is to place them, spread them out, so that they're convenient for folks. And then what I do in this particular hospital, because you can see, do a ton of research here. And this one I tend to dedicate. You can see I've got research training going on there right now. So dedicate this room to research. And this one does kind of people over in this one. And these two kind of serve the rest of the hospital. Now, when you start a game, in fact, this particular hospital, I knew I was getting all newbies. I actually built two. I built this and then copied it and put it. This one was not a psychiatry. It was originally another training. I had two training and immediately hired 3 doctors, put them in this room and trained them on GP, general practice 1. Then I hired 3 nurses, put them in this training room and hired them on diagnostics. And that way, as soon as we started having patients, we had 3 trained GPs to man these 3 GP offices, and we had 3 nurses trained in diagnostics. Main purpose was to man the cardiology and the general diagnosis, and then the third one could handle the pharmacy until we had training done for that. So so you can see I just did 3 and I only put 3 seats in there. Now the other reason you don't need 1,400 seats in a training room is that, again, because of the way it works with the training slots, you don't always want to train 14 people at a time. It's usually 1, 2, or 3 at a time. So I would recommend smaller rooms scattered around so that the travel time is less for each of the trainees to do the training. Now, let's talk about how to schedule the training and who can do the training and all that stuff. So of our 3 training rooms, we've got one that has opened up for us now. So if we click on our little lectern here and say start a class, it'll show us all the classes. So those are all the classes that somebody could take. Now, that's not the most useful view. The most useful view is to go see who can take training. Remember, so this is going to filter out and tell us who are all the folks that have the ability to take training. They have an open training slot, and there are 28 people in total. So what you would want to do is think about your hospital and think about what's my biggest need, and then find a person who has started down that path. For example, let's say we're running a little short on GPs. So here we look at this. We've got a junior doctor here who could take, who is a 1 level and he has an open slot. So ACE, we'll say if we train ACE, we can see now there's 27 people who could train with him out of the 28. But now we could go to courses available and we can see what could ACE take. And we can see that ACE can take, see it's filtered down. Now ACE could take general practice 2. Now we see there's only one other person who also could take that. And we click that and we put Bella in there with ACE. Now we've got 2 of our GPs are ready to take GP2, and then we can think about who could teach them. And now we can look at a whole list of, these are all the people who are already at that level in our hospital, plus a guest trainer. And the big thing to look at here is, one of the things is the training speed. So we've got 130, 130. Oh, wait, I won't need to get over here. If we stay over here to the right, we get 130, 130. So these are all kind of 130s in that 120, 130. We wouldn't want to use those. And if we look at our guest trainer, it's 160%. So Now we have to think about, okay, if I'm early on in the game, money's tight, I probably want to go with one of these guys. What I would tend to do is find the highest speed, and then if it's a tie, I would take the lowest rated doctor, to take the lowest rated doctor off the floor, and I would have, for example, Jackie Trousers teach Ace and Bella GP2. But if I was later on, or if I really was tight for GPs and I had the money, I would take the guest trainer for two great reasons: faster teaching speed, and that's one less staff off the floor. So now at this point where I'm almost $2 million in cash, just flush, I would tend to go with Dr. E. Huggles here, our guest trainer, and start that training. So now I've got my GPs going. And then what you would do, the whole game, the other thing, the key for training is keep these rooms full. You want to be training people all the time. So I'm going to run this fast forward, and I do a couple of things with my training in terms of how it impacts how I play, kind of my rhythm for keeping control of a large hospital. So as this training is completing, all right, so now we had a training course done right up there. So let's stop. Now, what we'd want to do, as soon as it finished, we would want to go to that training room and say, okay, same process. Who could be trained and what do I need? Now, I've got GPs going. I don't want to go there yet, but we could go. I've got somebody who hadn't been trained at all, and I've got some folks who I could bump up. Well, let's do this. Let's do our ward management. We've got some folks ward management 2. So again, now we click our courses and say, okay, let's do ward management 3. And here we have 4 people that could join in the fun. 3 seats available total. And our trainers, now we could take somebody off the floor to do this, or we could bring in a guest. Now, another option we would have, again, if we're tight for money, we could train one person and then pick a trainer. Now, that's interesting. These are trainees. Sorry. Then pick one person. And if we're tight for money, pick one person. Now, we've only taken 2 people off the floor. Do the training with like that, and then use again, or like this. If we're tight for money, take the person off the floor. And it wouldn't necessarily be Roy, it would be whoever's the fastest, 120, 120, 120. But again, if we have the money, go for the big guy. So once you have the money, use your guest trainers. Use your guest trainers at first because you won't have any choice a lot of times, and use your staff if you want to level up. I do a lot of over in this particular hospital. I do a lot of the research training with the other researchers just because they're right there. It's super fast, super convenient for them to do that. So that's really training in a nutshell. Place many small to medium-sized rooms. Get them decked out with as many bonuses as you can fit in reasonably. You don't need 1,400 seats. 3 or 4 seats in each room is fine. And watch your training, and every time a training slot opens up, make sure that you're training more people. Don't forget to train your janitors, particularly with upgrades and repairs, because if you, as you start getting into more and more advanced hospitals and you have more ability to upgrade equipment, you want to have people who can do it quickly, because it can really slow you down. Like here's one, here I can upgrade these 2 colorizers, and if all I've got's a mechanic 1, it's going to take a longer amount of time, and I could be having problems. And by the way, the strategy about the upgrades, that's a different fundamentals video. But that's it. That's training in a nutshell. Keep many rooms open, and open by open I mean running training. Use your internal staff to train staff if you need to, and watch your money. Get the fastest trainer you can. Oh, and watch out for these people who have, let's see if we have any in our little thing here. Let's see, maybe even a, yeah, here we go. Watch out for this guy here, this training masterclass. This is a person who gets 50% faster teaching speed and 50% faster learning speed. So old Barney would be a great person to teach the rest of our assistants how to be better, have better customer service, or whatever he's qualified in teaching. He can teach motivation and stamina and customer service up to level 2. So watch out for those folks. And I have done some experimenting with having everybody get that learning management first. I don't care for that because, one, it takes up one of the training slots, and those training slots are precious, because this is another thing to talk about quickly. What you want to do is, as I said, specialize, and we want psychiatry going all the way out to psychiatry 5. We want research going all the way out to research 5. We want GP all the way out to GP 5. We want ward management to go all the way out. And then the other kind of combinations you want, you can have treatment specialists. That's great. You want your injection administration, which is especially, there's only one level of it, but then you want to add treatments, because that is a treatment. So you want to add treatments, so you would want 1 injection and 4 treatments would be perfect there. And by the way, it's not bad necessarily to train people in these skills like motivation and stamina, and that. Those are fine too. But I prefer the specialties. I prefer having everybody specialized and having them maxed out, or as close as I can get to it, on all their specialties. All right, so that was covered a lot of ground there. I hope that was helpful for you. Hope you got some ideas from that on how you can better use your training in your hospitals. Enjoy the game. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next 2-Point Hospital video. Thank you.